Before becoming famous, Keanu Reeves received 4 Golden Raspberry nominations for his roles. Before becoming famous, Keanu Reeves was addicted to drugs. Before becoming famous, Keanu Reeves decided to leave acting and become a bassist. An incredible personality, a great actor, the icon of millions, Keanu Reeves. The one who has come a long way from a sickly child of a dysfunctional family to a Hollywood star. Kind, sensual, simple, and incredibly cool. He has no enemies. He is loved by literally everyone. And today, we will tell you about him. Let's talk about how Keanu Reeves became famous, shall we?
Is really going to be breathtaking.
Keanu Reeves was born on September 2nd, 1964, in Lebanon. Blood of a large number of different nationalities flows in his veins. He has British, Hawaiian, Irish, Portuguese, and even Chinese roots. Well, obviously only such a combination of genes could give the world such an extraordinary person. You may wonder why Keanu Reeves is extraordinary, and I will answer. This man, receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in fees, is distinguished by an exceptional modesty. He can live in rented apartments and hotels for years, often rides the subway together with ordinary people, or walks in the park. Such photos of him flew all over the internet. The most non-starish star of all time.
Really, my private life is a boring disaster, but work is good.
Just imagine, Keanu Reeves comes and sits next to you on the subway. Your reaction? What do you do? For example, I probably wouldn't have done anything myself, because I would have been lying on the floor with a heart attack. But that's not the point. Let's get to the actor's childhood, because loads of things happen here.
Catch you later, Billy.
So, the future Hollywood star did not manage to live in a full-fledged family when he was young. Keanu Reeves' father left his wife and children when his son was only 3 years old. Until now, Reeves Jr. cannot forgive his father for that act and does not keep in touch with him. Keanu found his permanent home in Canada. Keanu was never a successful student at school. He devoted most of his time to sports, dreaming of becoming a hockey player, and also attended an acting course. At the age of 9, he even appeared on the stage of the school theater for the first time. The boy took part in a small musical. Dyslexia was an important cause in this case, a disease in which it is difficult for a child to remember words, which makes it much more difficult to learn to read and write. Surprisingly, this disease accompanied the childhood of several other very famous actors, such as Tom Cruise and Keira Knightley. Maybe it is a marker of an acting talent.
Whoa. Okay, kid.
It was not easy for Keanu Reeves either, but it was so not easy that he was never able to finish high school and get a secondary education. Well, at least instead of studying hard, unnecessary items, Keanu devoted himself to hockey and acting. In hockey, for example, he was even recognized as the most valuable player of his team in the season.
And I was a pretty self-motivated kid.
His first job he also got in hockey. He sharpened skates for himself and the team players. And at the age of 16, the boy got a job in a shop where pasta was produced. He made kilograms of pasta himself. Only admission to the acting school was to Reeves' liking. There, he really tried hard. He succeeded in everything, and he even said that he learned to play there, according to Stanislavski's method. But Keanu was still constantly changing schools and acting institutions. Did no one notice his talent? It is not surprising, though. Some of Reeves' performances are being laughed at even now.
Okay, let's begin.
Years were passing by. It was time to start auditioning already, which was exactly what the young actor did. The first luck smiled at him at the rehearsals for the play, Wolf Boy, where Keanu played a young gay boy in a psychiatric hospital. It appeared to be a very strange picture, especially as the debut. The director of that production later said that he had $10, 2 innocent boys in white shorts, and some oil. Probably, it was difficult to do something different with this set, right? So Reeves' career began with the role of a gay, Considering that Keanu has never married or had children until today, you can imagine what the media is making up about him because of that. But that's not the point. Keanu started a career and wanted to keep going. He went to almost all the castings that were held around his area in the USA.
It's something how to do. Sometimes it's necessary to go a long distance out of the way.
Until the age of 24, Keanu played in literally everything, from commercials and TV series to big pictures of fine directors. From some crap to quality films, there were dozens of pictures. He managed to star in a Coca-Cola commercial, in the series Hangin' In, which you probably never heard of. He received his first really big fee for working in one of the commercials. The guy didn't know what to do with the money and simply buried it in the ground in a basket. I wonder if he dug them up in the end. Anyhow, at one point, the first really significant work of the young actor was released, the teenage comedy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
And the totally excellent music.
This film gave the world a simply unsurpassed image of Keanu, a few legendary memes. He got his first serious praise from critics. The comedy became a beautiful caricature of the lifestyle of young people, but it could not be released at all because the publisher went bankrupt. Fortunately, the film was repurchased for showing in cinemas. The next work of an already more established actor was Guy Van Sant's film, My Own Private Idaho.
Dad, I will die.
The director dreamed of seeing two people in the main roles, River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves. But he himself did not get a big head, and he knew that the actors' agents would not even let them read a script. Guy then mailed the script to the actors, and this text reached Keanu. The actor liked it so much that he got on a motorbike and drove himself to River Phoenix's house. In a personal conversation, he persuaded him to star in the film, and not in vain, the roles turned out to be beautiful and iconic. Keanu Reeves tried hashish and LSD while still at school, and during the filming of the movie, together with River Phoenix, he literally went off the rails. They smoked everything and smoked every day. The director also smoked with them. The film with such a working process was barely completed, but the problems did not end there. River Phoenix died of a drug overdose 2 years later. Rumor has it that Keanu Reeves, although he declared that he quit several times, was noticed in not quite adequate condition. Well, the first roles came, the first money, and the first fans. Some sort of fame. The fame that Keanu Reeves never particularly used. He did not relax in nightclubs, nor disappeared at parties. His only weakness was motorcycles.
This motorcycle's outrageous, but that's part of the fun.
Keanu is in love with motorcycles and speed. He collects them, and likes to race like crazy. Of course, he got into accidents more than once. In his first accident, he broke several ribs, ruptured his spleen, and ended up with a scar across half of his stomach. Not a bad set, don't you think? What he really could do was fine drive. But what he didn't know how to do was choose roles. Just took everything, one after the other. There were enough strange roles in his career.
Sorry! Turn blue! Give me a break here!
So, the first award in the life of a promising young actor was a nomination for the Golden Raspberry for the Worst Supporting Role, the role of Don Juan in Shakespeare's adaptation. Not a very impressive achievement. I wouldn't advertise that.
I have cause and smile at no man's jests.
However, Keanu didn't bother. He kept acting everywhere. The action movie Speed with the young Sandra Bullock, for example, was a successful experiment. It was the one which opened the way for Keanu to big fees and to the Olympus of Hollywood. A very successful and popular picture with a great box office success.
I've heard relationships based on intense experiences never work.
And then Reeves received another nomination for a Golden Raspberry. This time in the Worst Actor category. What a progress in the nominations. The reason was for the performance in the film Johnny Mnemonic. A cyberpunk film for young people did not make a breakthrough due to disputes between the director and the team. Back then, little did he know that 20 years after Johnny Mnemonic, he would be involved in another cyberpunk adventure. This time, with a role in a video game in a cyberpunk setting.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
But let's go a bit back, because the third and fourth Golden Raspberry nominations awaited Keanu. And this was in addition to other acting awards. Tommy Wiseau himself could envy him.
Bullshit, I did not hit her. I did not.
Even taking a break for a year and getting over-enthusiastic about playing bass in the grunge band Dog Stars didn't help. Yeah, Keanu Reeves played rock and even toured Japan with his band. Only in the film, The Devil's Advocate, did the actor fully recover himself. The duet with Al Pacino was beautiful. The actors complimented each other, and the critics were satisfied. The film became a cult classic. Reeves made a special bet on this film. Still, he refused part of the fee in favor of Al Pacino, so that he would agree to play his diabolical role. Although we already know that money is definitely not the main thing for Keanu. And ahead of him was a picture that brought hundreds and hundreds of millions. The film of the generation, The Matrix.
Am I dead?
The Wachowskis' Matrix can be talked about forever. It is worth dedicating several separate videos to it. The process of its development, casting of actors, stories from the set. We'll go through only the main points of interest. For example, let's recall that Keanu should not have received the role of Neo. What? The director saw other people in it. Nicolas Cage, Will Smith, or even Tom Cruise. But Cage had family problems. Smith chose the role in Wild Wild West, and Cruise considered The Matrix a hopeless picture. This was how Keanu landed the main role.
You have to let it all go, Neo.
However, not everything was so simple there as well. 2 weeks prior to filming, Keanu had another accident on his motorcycle. He barely stayed alive, survived spinal surgery, and could have remained an immobile disabled person. Doctors saved him. And this is where Reeves showed his willpower. For the role, he needed to learn Oriental martial arts. And he did it, even with the spinal injury. Through the pain and the risk of complications, everything for the role.
It's funny because he had the hip and I had the neck.
The filming itself was quite a challenge. The latest technologies, various locations, and huge budgets, and huge requirements for actors. Before filming The Matrix, the Wachowskis made Keanu Reeves and the entire cast read a bunch of literature about simulations, The Matrix, the unreality of the world, so that they understand all the references in the film. But the result was worth the effort. The world saw a real masterpiece. Keanu Reeves became a top-notch star, one of the #1 Hollywood gods. Reeves received his record fee for The Matrix. For the trilogy, this amount reached $114 million. The following number will tell you everything about the actor. 80 million. 80 million from 114, Keanu Reeves divided between members of the film crew, makeup artists, and special effects creators of the Matrix team, as well as cancer research funds. The newly minted Neo gave all the stuntmen a Harley-Davidson motorcycle for each. How can you not help loving him after that? On top of that, he saved his sister's life by investing tens of millions to cure her of leukemia. Neo from The Matrix turned out to be a hero, not only on the screen. This was the unique story of Keanu Reeves before he got famous. Just as incredible as the many other actors we feature on before they got famous. So, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos. And see you next time.